What's up, what it do, cyber world? It is your girl, the one and only Ash Brown, and this is Ash Brown Uncensored. On this program here, we will talk about pop culture stuff, but it's probably Ash Brown related. So you gotta stay tuned to see what I'm gonna talk about. I got some more stories, y'all, and sometimes like you just get a burst of memories and things that you kind of forgot, but they still like are there because they're a part of your story. So, freshman year, I went off to school, and Vicky was my roommate. And I had just gotten, my parents had got me this great car, and I was so excited. And I was one of those 18-year-olds that just thought she was the ish, essentially. I just thought I was it. I was like, oh, I run this. I run the street. That's me. The lights come on when I come outside. That's what I do. And so I was very heavy-footed. And when I say that, I mean I was definitely a speed demon on these highways. Oh, I was speeding. I was speeding something crazy. And so one time when we were headed back to school. Typically to get to school, it was like maybe 2.5 hours to get out there. It was taking me like an hour flat, y'all. That, as I look back and I reflect now, that was not safe. That was very dangerous. Any number of things could have happened had I gotten to some kind of accident or anything. Anything could have happened. But I got stopped, and Vicky and another girl was in a car, and we were all headed back to school. I got stopped, and it was like the first time I've ever been stopped by the police. So I was freaking out, like my heart just like dropped out of my chest, and like Vicky's like, look, just be calm, just be chill, you got this. Like she's pumping me up, right? And she's like, you got this, just chill, just be easy. I'm like, yeah, be easy, yeah, be easy. And so they clocked me in at, I think, 20 over the limit, which I was, I could talk about it now, but I was doing way over 20. Like, I slowed it enough time to where they clocked me in at 20 over the speed limit. And that was still really outrageous. So, gave me a ticket. And I was like, you know what? Okay, cool. I got a ticket. I'm going to just come up here one day. I'm going to pay it off and everything's good. Vicky's like, nah, you can't do that. I was like, what you mean I can't do that? I was like, well, come and pay the ticket off and be done with it. She's like, no. You got to tell your parents. I was like, I'm not telling my mama so she can light me up. I'm not telling her that. She was like, nah, you got to tell her because they are going to notify the insurance company. So she going to find out one way or the other. I was like, dang. I ain't think about it like that, So, told my mom. She really cut up as expected. She really cut up. And I went on thinking that everything was going to be good. I was just going to get a ticket and that was going to be it. And that was going to be the end of that. That is not what happened, y'all. So they gave me... No. What happened was I didn't hear anything. And so I think I paid a fine. I had to pay a small fine. So I was like, I pay that fine. That's easy, So I paid the fine and thought that everything was going to be straight. We good to go. No problems, no issues. Nah, y'all. So about 2 months later, they sent a letter home stating that I needed to surrender my license. And I was like, no, I got this beautiful car and my family just, came together and got for me, and I'm out here at school, and I got to surrender my license. I can't drive. They suspended my license for 6 months. Those are 6 of the longest months of not driving, y'all. 6 of the longest months. So I dropped off my license with my mom to surrender it to the people, them, and all that stuff. And I left my baby. I left my car at home, y'all. And I was so tore up about it. I was so mad at myself. And I had 6 months of really thinking good and hard, really, really good, really deep into it about my choices, my decisions, because essentially that's where it ended me up. And I will never forget. It was one weekend, because I got back to school and then my parents had to drop me off because now I wasn't driving. And it was maybe a month or so. And Vicky was going home to go check her peeps. And I was deciding, I was just going to stay there because, I don't know, I just I didn't feel like going home. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go home. I can't drive, can't do nothing. I'm just going to stay here. So I stayed at campus. And Vicky left and she came back, that Sunday or something. She came in chuckling to herself. And I'm like, what's so doggone funny? What's funny? What's the joke? I want to laugh too. And she was like, yo, this is what happened this weekend. This was going on, blah, blah, blah. She told me about everything that happened, everything that she was dealing with and stuff. And everybody that she saw. And she was like, yo, I was at so and such place. I look up and I see the silver Jetta. I see your mom's driving your car, Ash. And man, your sister, your brother was in the back seat. I was like, what? I was like, what? Come on now. Are you serious? She's like, I kid you not. So I called my mom and I remember asking, I was like, Mom, were you driving my car? And she's like, who told you? Who told you that they seen me driving your car? Who said that? Who said that? And I told her. And she's like, now Vicky need to mind her business. See, staying out of grown folks' bitch. She need to mind her business. And what did she say she saw? She said she saw me driving. Well, you got to make sure, that the car needs to, it needs to get driven, from time to time and stuff. It's good for the battery and the engine and all that. Mama Breezy, really? It was hilarious. I found it extremely funny, but it left me to my own devices because I was in that situation because of my choices and what I had done. And that was that. That was that. So that was the latest story time. That was the latest story time that I could come up with. But I appreciate you guys. And thank you so much for the love and support and for everything that you continue to do and continue to support the movement, which is Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, baby babies. But I want y'all to have a good, productive, peaceful, and just a great week ahead, y'all. All right? Have a great week.